Okay, so everyone's talking about crypto these days.
Yeah.
You guys have been asking for a deep dive into crypto, specifically what to know before, actually throwing your hat in the ring,
Right.
especially with all this Bitcoin ETF stuff happening.
Yeah, it's pretty wild out there.
It is. It's a lot. And I think you're right to be cautious. ETFs might seem like an easy way in, but that's not the whole picture.
Not even close.
No. So we're going deeper. We're dissecting this recent video from Coin Bureau. I don't know if you're familiar with them.
Yeah, they know their stuff.
They really do. Super informative. And they break things down in a way that even, someone just dipping their toes in can understand.
Yeah, definitely.
So
I think it's correct.
consider this like Crypto 101, but, way more engaging than your average boring lecture.
Much more, yeah, for sure.
So let's start with those ETFs. They seem, like I said, like an easy way in, but even Coin Bureau points out some pretty big limitations.
Yeah.
For one thing, ETFs, they follow Wall Street's schedule, right? 9 to 5.
Yeah, they're not open 24/7 like the crypto market.
Crypto never sleeps.
It does not.
No.
So it's like you only get to trade when the market's basically closed. It's not ideal.
You miss out on all the action.
Exactly. You miss the after party. And the after party for crypto, that's where things get interesting.
Where the real gains are made, right?
Potentially, yeah. And the other thing with ETFs is you don't actually own the cryptocurrency. You're investing in like an IOU from the ETF provider.
Okay, so it's like buying a picture of a hamburger when you're actually hungry.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
And not only that, most ETFs, they mainly focus on Bitcoin.
Right.
You're missing out on all the altcoins. Those are the other cryptocurrencies out there.
And those can be even more volatile.
Oh, yeah. But also way more potential for gains. Think like 10x, even 100x your money in some cases.
Wow, okay. So high risk, high reward.
That's the crypto motto.
I like it. But seriously, we should talk about volatility because crypto is famous for it. Or maybe infamous is a better word.
Yeah, infamous is probably accurate.
What's a good way to describe it? It's like trying to ride a bull on a roller coaster.
Something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, you can see swings of like 10% in a day for Bitcoin, even on a relatively calm day.
Yeah. And then the altcoins are just all over the place.
Oh, yeah. Forget about it. Those things are up 20%, down 30%. Who knows? It's a wild ride.
So why is it so volatile?
Well, a lot of reasons. I mean, one is just the nature of crypto itself.
Yeah.
Right? It's trying to disrupt this whole established financial system.
Right.
So there's a lot of uncertainty, a lot of speculation. And then you've got leverage trading, which basically amplifies everything.
Leverage trading, so it's like adding fuel to the fire.
Exactly. You can make a lot of money really fast, but you can also lose it just as quickly. It's not for the faint of heart.
Definitely not. So what's the key to surviving, let alone thriving, in this kind of market?
Well, I think, first of all, don't invest more than you can afford to lose.
Yeah.
That's rule number one with anything in life, but especially with crypto.
Good advice.
And then, I mean, if you were going to get into it, educate yourself, right?
Okay.
Understand what you're investing in, why it's volatile, and have a plan.
Don't just jump in blindly.
No, absolutely not, because, it's easy to get caught up in the hype, right?
Yeah, FOMO is real.
It is, and that's when people make bad decisions.
So how do we avoid those bad decisions?
I mean, one strategy is to stick with those bigger, more established cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin and Ethereum.
Yeah.
They tend to be a little less volatile just because they have such a larger market cap.
Right, they've got more weight behind them.
Exactly. And if you're going to dabble in leverage, start small, learn the ropes before you go all in.
Test the waters.
Exactly. And again, do your research. Learn about technical analysis trying to predict market movements. But remember, no one has a crystal ball.
Always a gamble.
No.
Okay, so we've covered ETFs, we've talked about volatility, but let's talk about the assets themselves, the cryptocurrencies. Not all cryptos are created equal.
Right. There's actually a big distinction between coins and tokens.
Okay, break that down for me.
Think of it like this, that coins, those are like Apple, Google, Amazon. They have their own blockchain, which is like their own independent operating system. Tokens, on the other hand, are more like apps that run on those operating systems. They're built on top of existing blockchains.
Okay, so a coin is like the whole package.
Yeah, like the foundation.
Then a token is built on top of that.
Exactly. So building a blockchain from scratch, that's a huge undertaking, right?
Makes sense.
A lot more goes into it. So because of that, coins, they're generally the big players in the crypto space.
So does that mean they're automatically a better investment?
Not necessarily. It's easy to think that just because they're bigger, they're safer. But historically, coins have tended to outperform tokens, but there's no guarantee.
Nothing's guaranteed in crypto, right?
Exactly. What really drives value, and this goes for both coins and tokens, is like real-world utility. does this crypto solve a problem that people actually have?
Okay, so it has to have a purpose. It can't just be hype.
Right. Hype can only take you so far.
Speaking of hype, let's talk about the challenge of finding good information in the crypto world, because it's tough. Even Coin Bureau admits it's a minefield out there. It's like trying to find a needle in a haystack made of memes and tweets.
Seriously. The amount of information and misinformation is overwhelming.
It's hard to know what to trust.
Yeah, it's really difficult.
Yeah.
And the crypto space is still relatively new, so there just aren't as many reliable resources out there. And a lot of the projects, they're pretty complex.
Yeah, very technical.
Yeah, and that makes it even harder to figure out what's real and what's not.
And where there's confusion, there are always people looking to take advantage. Scammers, misinformation.
Oh, absolutely.
People losing their hard-earned money because they didn't know what to look for.
Yeah.
Which is why, and I think this is such a good point that Coin Bureau makes, you've got to look beyond the price tag.
Yeah.
Because, I know, it's so tempting to see a coin that's like, you know, a couple of cents and think, oh, this could be the next Bitcoin.
It's like the lottery ticket mentality.
Exactly.
And while, yes, some people have gotten lucky that way, it's not a sustainable strategy.
So what should people be focusing on instead of just the price?
Market capitalization. That's the total value of all the coins or tokens in circulation.
Okay, so it's not about how many coins you have. It's about how much they're actually worth as a whole.
Exactly. Think of it this way. You could own a tiny, tiny sliver of a massive company like, I don't know, Apple.
Yeah.
Or you could own like a huge chunk of a small startup that, who knows, may or may not succeed.
Okay. So how do you use market cap to actually make decisions?
Well, one way is to compare the market cap of a project that you're interested in to other similar projects in the same space.
Yeah.
That can give you at least some idea of its potential.
So don't put all your eggs in one basket and don't just chase cheap coins.
Right.
Market cap matters.
It really does.
Okay, so let's say you've done your research, you've navigated the volatility, you've found some promising cryptos with a solid market cap, but then there's this whole other aspect that I think trips people up. It's like, where do you actually keep this digital gold?
That's where self-custody comes in,
Yeah,
right?
yes. Not your keys, not your crypto.
Exactly.
Explain that like I'm 5.
Okay, so imagine you've got your money, right? You can keep it in a bank. It's convenient, but it's not technically in your possession. The bank is holding it for you.
Okay.
Or you could keep your cash tucked away in a safe at home.
Okay.
Right. That's essentially the difference between a custodial and a non-custodial crypto wallet.
So a custodial wallet, that's like the bank. You're trusting them with your money.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Convenient, but not always the most secure.
And we've seen how that's worked out sometimes.
Right, exactly. So that's why many people in the crypto space, they advocate for self-custody, which means you control your private keys. Those are like the passwords to your crypto.
Okay, so you are the bank.
You are your own bank.
But with great power comes great responsibility.
Yeah.
What happens if you lose those keys?
That's it. Your crypto is gone.
Mhm.
It's like gone forever. It's unrecoverable. So it's a trade-off,
That's
right?
a big responsibility.
It is. That's why a lot of people use what's called a hardware wallet. Basically, it's a physical device that stores your keys offline.
Okay, like a little USB stick?
Kind of.
Yeah.
And that makes it way more secure than, say, storing your keys on your computer, which could get hacked.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So it's like Fort Knox for your crypto.
I like it. But,
Yeah.
you know, you've got your Fort Knox, you've got to think about what you're putting in it. Diversification is key, even within crypto itself.
Absolutely.
Right.
You don't put all your eggs in one basket. Same goes for crypto.
So even though it's all crypto, we're still spreading the risk.
100%.
Yeah.
Because different cryptos, they serve different purposes. They have different levels of risk. You've got Bitcoin, which is kind of like the gold standard, right? Often seen as a safe haven asset. Then you have stable coins, which are pegged to like the US dollar or other fiat
So
currencies.
they're a bit more stable.
Exactly, less volatile. And then you've got the whole world of altcoins, thousands of them.
It's overwhelming.
Oh, it definitely can be. And you could break those down even further by market cap.
Okay.
Large cap, mid cap, small cap, each with their own risk and reward profiles.
So how do you go about like actually building a balanced crypto portfolio with all these different options?
Well, depends on your risk tolerance, right?
Right.
But Coin Bureau, they actually recommend a specific breakdown. They say 50% Bitcoin,
Okay.
25% stable coins, and 25% altcoins. Now, this is just a starting point, of course, but it gives you a good balance between like stability and potential growth.
Okay, so you've got your base covered, but you're still leaving some room for those potential big wins.
Exactly. But ultimately, It's up to you to decide what's right for your own personal situation.
Okay, so we've got our crypto stash somewhat figured out, we think. But how do we know when to buy, when to sell, when to just, like, hold on for dear life?
Right.
It's all about timing, isn't it?
Timing is everything. And this is where understanding market cycles comes in.
Okay.
And Bitcoin, once again, is at the heart of it all. It really is. Think of Bitcoin as the conductor of the crypto orchestra.
Okay.
It sets the tempo for the whole market.
Interesting. So what's the rhythm section? Like, how does it all actually work?
Well, crypto markets, particularly Bitcoin, they tend to follow these 4-year cycles.
4 years. Okay.
Yeah. And the big event that drives these cycles, it's called a halving.
A halving, like it gets cut in half. What does that even mean?
Yeah, so every 4 years, the rewards that Bitcoin miners get.
Wait, hold on. Who are these miners and what are they mining? I always hear about this, but...
Good point. I kind of glossed over that. Okay, so Bitcoin miners, think of them like the accountants of the Bitcoin network.
Okay.
They use these really powerful computers to solve these crazy complex math problems. And by doing that, they verify and add new transactions to the blockchain.
So they're like the blockchain bookkeepers, making sure everything adds up.
Exactly. And for their efforts, they get rewarded with Bitcoin.
Right. But back to this halving thing, why does it matter?
Because it directly impacts how much new Bitcoin enters the market.
Okay.
So every 4 years, the rewards they get for mining, they get cut in half.
Oh, okay. So less Bitcoin coming in, but demand's still going up.
Exactly. It's classic supply and demand.
Ah, okay. So the price goes up.
Exactly. Historically, these halving events, they've been followed by some pretty significant bull markets.
So we're talking about those periods of like huge excitement and hopefully profit for people who invested.
Exactly. Think of it like a crypto gold rush.
I like it.
But just like the gold rushes of the past, what goes up must come down.
Right. So then what
You
happens?
get a correction. The price starts to decline, sometimes for months, even years.
The crypto roller coaster takes a dip. So where are we now in this cycle? Should I be buying a helmet or strapping myself in for the ride? What's going on?
Well, the next halving is predicted for April 2024. So if history repeats itself, we might see the next bull market kick off sometime after that.
Okay, so no one knows for sure.
Nope,
It's all speculation at this point.
pretty much. Trying to time the market perfectly is like the holy grail of investing, right?
Easier said than done, I imagine. So instead of focusing on these short-term gains, we should be thinking long-term.
Exactly, especially with crypto.
Okay. So speaking of the long game, Coin Bureau talks about crypto as like a hedge against the system.
Yeah.
What does that even mean?
So think about it. What has consistently outpaced inflation over like the last few decades?
I mean, technology has been on a roll.
Right.
And I guess certain areas of finance too.
Exactly. And crypto kind of sits at the intersection of both of those things.
Okay.
But it also offers something more. It's inherently resistant to seizure.
Okay, now you've got my attention. Resistance to seizure. Is that why people are so excited about decentralization?
That's a big part of it.
Yeah.
Because cryptos, especially Bitcoin, they're not controlled by any single entity. Not a government, not a bank.
Right.
It's all about distributing that control among many different participants.
So no one can just like come in and take it away from you.
Theoretically, no. That's the idea. That's what makes it really appealing in countries with like unstable economies or governments that like to meddle in the markets.
I can see the appeal.
It's like having this like secret digital vault that no one else has the key to.
Okay, I'm starting to understand. So am I wrong to think of Bitcoin as like digital gold?
It's a common analogy, and for good reason. Both of them, they're seen as scarce assets that have the potential to hold their value, maybe even increase in value, especially during times of like economic uncertainty.
Makes sense. When things get bad, people turn to gold, so...
Exactly. Although it's not a perfect comparison.
How so?
Well, gold's been around forever, right?
Yeah.
Millennia. Bitcoin is still a baby in comparison.
It's true. It's a gamble.
It is. But that's part of the appeal. For some people, it's an experiment, and it's exciting.
I can see that. But like any good experiment, I'm sure there are some things that can go wrong. And Coin Bureau talks about that too, the risk of scams.
Yeah, that's the dark side of the crypto world, unfortunately.
It seems like anytime there's something new, something innovative, the scammers are never too far behind, you know?
Oh yeah. Scams are rampant in the crypto space. They prey on people who are new, who don't really know what to look out for.
Which is, again, why we're doing this deep dive.
Exactly. Knowledge is your best defense.
So what are some of the big ones that we should be aware of?
Well, fake airdrops are a big one.
Okay.
That's where scammers, they basically promise to give you free crypto.
Oh, yeah, I've seen those.
But in order to claim it, you have to, give them your wallet information or send them a small amount of crypto to verify your account.
Which you should never do.
Never. If it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. Fake giveaways are another big one. And these days, they're getting really sophisticated, using things like deep fake technology to impersonate, well-known figures in the space.
Deep fakes, like that technology that can make it look like anyone is saying or doing anything.
Yeah, exactly. So it's getting harder and harder to tell what's real and what's not.
That's scary. So how do we protect ourselves?
Always be vigilant. Double-check those URLs. Be wary of unsolicited messages, especially if they're promising you, crazy returns.
If it sounds too good to be true.
Exactly. And never, ever share your private keys with anyone.
Those are like the keys to the kingdom.
All the way.
Okay, good to know. What about those games and stuff where you can earn crypto? Those are a thing, right?
Oh, yeah. Those are called dApps, decentralized applications.
Okay.
Basically, they're like apps that are built on the blockchain.
Interesting.
But before you connect your wallet to any dApp, do your research.
Okay.
Make sure it's from a reputable developer.
So always proceed with caution.
Exactly. Don't let fear paralyze you. But don't throw caution to the wind either.
I like it. Cautious optimism. I can get behind that, right? It's a balance.
It really is.
So it sounds like self-custody really is the way to go if you're serious about this, and a hardware wallet is the, gold standard.
It's the safest way to protect your crypto.
Yeah.
It's like having your own Fort Knox.
Exactly. I like that analogy.
Yeah.
But instead of gold bars, it's lines of code that might be worth a fortune someday.
Right. It's wild to think about.
It really is. Okay, so as we're wrapping up this crypto crash course, what are the key takeaways you want our listeners to walk away with today?
Well, I think the most important thing is to approach crypto with, a curious mind, but also a healthy dose of skepticism. It's still early days.
Right.
It's exciting.
Yeah.
But not every project is going to be the next Bitcoin.
Not every coin is going to the moon.
Exactly. And just like with any investment, diversification is key.
Don't put all your eggs in one basket.
Exactly. And also, remember, this isn't just about trying to make a quick buck. It's about understanding the potential of this technology to really change things.
To change the world, potentially.
Potentially, yeah. I mean, it's about being a part of something new, even though it feels kind of like the Wild West right now.
It's an adventure.
It really is.
I like it. So, to recap, do your research, choose your crypto wisely, protect those digital assets, and don't believe everything you read on the internet.
Words to live by.
Especially in the crypto world. Big thanks to Coin Bureau for the insights, and to our listeners, we hope this has helped you feel a little bit more prepared to navigate this crazy, exciting world of crypto. Happy investing, everyone.